It may be Christmas Eve, folks, but that doesn't stop the rumours kicking around at Newcastle United the day before Christmas, with the transfer window, of course, just around the corner. The excitement is building within the Newcastle fan base as to who we could maybe sign in the window. Eddie Howe has been very coy, saying that we probably won't. I would take that with a pinch of salt. We desperately need to certainly cover certain positions within the squad in this window in order to have a very, very good second half to the season. Now, one of those players that is linked with the club today is Barcelona centre-back Eric Garcia. Now, Garcia is 23 years old, so he fits the mould really for a Paul Mitchell signing. But the good thing about this is that Newcastle United are covering one of the positions that we need, and that is, of course, a centre-back. Botman is coming back to full fitness very soon, but we do need another right-hand side centre-back, and Eric Garcia fits the bill. Now, he's not getting the game time for Barcelona that I think Eric Garcia wants. According to the Catalan newspapers, Newcastle United have made a concrete effort to secure the 23-year-old services, presenting a proposal deemed interesting by Barcelona. It follows a basically similar story last week, said that Newcastle were exploring the possibility of bringing in the £25 million rated defender. Now look, he's 25 million again. This is a good price. This isn't overrated. This isn't overhyped. Of course, it's a very, very good price for a defender, especially if Garcia's talent, 23 years old, like I said, fits the mould for Paul Mitchell perfectly. And this is one that we could possibly go for. Now, despite Garcia's struggle for game time, it also says that the Spaniard has managed just 4 starts this season since returning from a loan spell at Girona. He prefers to fight for his place at the new camp over a winter move to Tyneside. Now, we know players will always say, I'm not interested. But then again, if he's not getting the game time, he hasn't had the game time that he thought he might after returning back from loan. And when you're talking about Barcelona here, you're talking about having to fight for your place amongst some very, very good players, to the possibility where you'll see you fight for your place, but you remain on the bench or whatever it may be for the remainder of the season. But it does say that the former Manchester City player is determined to prove his worth to Hansi Flick and is considering a potential move only in the summer. So this could be a summer move eventually if Newcastle do sniff around and think, we can't possibly bring this player in the winter. It's not going to happen. But of course, we have been linked with Mark Gahey, Tomori especially. That one's picked up a little bit over the last few days. So it seems that Newcastle United are looking to cover a centre-back position. And that is one position that I think we need to go for. The other two are obviously right wing and a striker position. But they may not happen, because if we do bring in a centre-back, I would say that we possibly only bring in one other position. Now, is that going to be the right wing or the striker? It seems, if you believe all the reports that are kicking around at the moment about players that Newcastle United need, it's a centre-back that is providing the most talk and rumours of us looking at that position. So, I don't know what to make of it. Of course, you know, we've said many, many times that Newcastle United have various transfer options in the winter window. Certainly with players going out. You look at the players that could possibly leave. You look at Miggy, you look at Wilson, you look at Target. Those kind of players. Longstaff's been rumoured with a move away. So Newcastle United definitely want to generate the money. And if they can generate the money, then maybe the possibility is more than one player. Now, of course, Garcia, he started at Manchester City. He made 35 appearances for them. He's a very versatile centre-back. He can operate as a centre-back or a holding midfielder. But his preference is to possibly stay and fight for his place at Barcelona. So we would have a serious battle on our hands to try and convince him to sign in the winter. But again, I just hope it's not one of these stories that plays out, and never happens. You know, if we're going to make a bid for him, then let's go for it. It looks like there's an informal conversation taking place. But the player himself, despite Barcelona being open to a move, the player himself is the one that's going to take more convincing. But if anyone can do it, Paul Mitchell can, with his history of being able to bring in players like this to his previous football club. So it's certainly one to keep an eye on. But it looks like Newcastle United are really, really hounding in on a centre-back for one of those positions to be filled. Now, Alexander Isak. Of course, all the talk since his hat-trick against Ipswich and all the talk prior to that has been about him leaving for an Arsenal, for a Chelsea, or whoever it may be. Now, Isak has come out and set it straight yet again. He did this at the last international break. If you can remember, he was interviewed by Swedish media and he turned around and said, look, I'm going nowhere. I'm fully committed to Newcastle United. I don't want to leave. There's a very good project going on here and I want to be part of that. Now, basically, he's come out and said the same thing. In an interview with local media, this is what he said. Throughout my career, I have never commented on rumours during the season. There have been many such years where that moving clubs have been talked about. It doesn't affect me. My situation at Newcastle, I have never had any problem there, and I am fully focused on my task there, that we will have a fantastic season. There are still great opportunities for that, and I have no thoughts about anything else. Much of what I have read about me is not true. That is all I can say about the whole thing. So, listen, Isak's done his bit. As far as I'm concerned, he's done his bit. He's quashed these rumours. He doesn't want to go anywhere at the minute. And why should he? He's banging form. He's scoring goals. And what I really liked about what he had to say is there's still great opportunities to have a great season. Of course, we're still in the Carabao Cup. We're still in the FA Cup. We're rising up the league again. And we certainly look like we're going to be challenging. I know that's sort of hindsight. We don't know what's going to happen. There may be more injuries, etc. But at this present time, we are in, as a club, a wonderful position heading into the Christmas period. He's got 10 goals. He's flying. And that, for me, is a big statement from Isak because he's finally come out and said, like he did a few weeks ago at the international break, that he is perfectly happy at Newcastle United. And saying that much of what I've read about me is not true. This is a guy who probably turns on the sport radio or looks on the internet every day and sees him linked with here, there and bloody everywhere. And the guy himself just wants to come out and reassure the Newcastle United fans that he's perfectly happy at the football club. And I'm really pleased he's done this interview because he's totally downplayed any move to Arsenal or Chelsea. Just let it go to bed. But we know the Southern media won't let this go to bed, even though Isak himself has come out. They'll probably make things up saying, oh, he said this and he said that just to put people off the track or lead them down the garden path kind of thing. I don't believe Isak is that kind of person at all. And I genuinely believe him when he's come out and said that he doesn't want to go anywhere, that there is a project here which he wants to see through at Newcastle United. Obviously, when he first signed, he was given probably the same project information that the likes of Botman, Bruno Tonali, etc. were given Anthony Gordon. All these players that have signed since the takeover about rising up and becoming an elite club. And why would you not want to be a part of it? Isak knows that he's loved by the Newcastle fans. He knows that he's got an opportunity to still score loads of goals in the Premier League. But he feels like we can win something at this football club. And I just wish the Southern media would understand that. But again, you'll probably see reports as soon as the transfer window opens that, people are going to go for Isak. And Newcastle United, they may well get bids for Isak in the winter window. But they're not stupid. We've heard rumblings that the club won't accept anything less than 150 million for Isak. And for me, he's untouchable at the minute. He's going to take an awful lot of money. He's contracted in Newcastle. There's no release clause or anything like that. He is, at the moment, very much contracted to Newcastle United, and I don't foresee that changing. So, brilliant of Isak to come out and say that, and I think it puts a few Newcastle fans' minds at rest as well, that our star striker doesn't want to leave the football club. And now, Tonali, because we talk about Isak being linked with away. Listen to this one. News kicking about that Sandro Tonali is the next player to be ready to leave Newcastle United because he struggled to settle on Tyneside. Now again, bullshit reporting, simply because Sandro Tonali and his agent have already come out in recent times and said he is loving it at Newcastle. He loves the fans love him, and he has no intention of leaving. Now, this would be, according to the report, a summer move. Now, the fact that Sandro Tonali is 24-year-old now, he's come back from a 10-month ban, and he's playing fantastic football at the minute. It's considered that a lot of European teams are back in for him and would want to put a bid in for Tonali at the end of the season. Now, the report is actually ridiculous because it states why Newcastle might look at selling Tonali because, PSR again, guys, and FFP, it's all there in the report. It says he has started just 8 Premier League games so far this season, perhaps less than Newcastle fans would have wanted, but has picked up form since he's been back in the side. But then, straight underneath the report, it says Tonali is happy at Newcastle. And it says sources have revealed to us that despite some wild speculation that Tonali is unhappy, that is not actually the case. We understand that Tonali is in fact very content with life at St James's Park and is determined to make his time in the Premier League a success. Newcastle, for their part, are certainly unwilling to sell Tonali in January or the summer. So why put that bullshit at the start of the report? Saying that Newcastle United are reluctantly looking, or possibly have to reluctantly give the green light to Tonali leaving because he's unhappy. And then halfway down the page, a completely different report state that he's perfectly happy. The player and his agent have come out and stated that he's perfectly happy with Newcastle. I mean, how stupid is that to put a report out like that? I mean, it's like, oh, let's put the big shocking news at the top and clickbait it, but then we'll actually put the truth underneath that report. So the truthful statement is actually at the bottom where it says that he's happy at Newcastle, which his agent came out and said, and the player himself said many, many times. So again, it's media trying to create thunderclouds over Newcastle United to try and ruffle up the feathers of a team that is playing really well at the moment, that has a very, very good dressing room now, and are playing some brilliant football and getting results. And once again, people want to do something about that. People want to ruin the opportunity for Newcastle United to get up there in the league and obviously become one of the elite clubs. We know how it all works. It's a load of bullshit. But it's going to continue, guys, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. As a Newcastle United fan, these players are always going to be linked with moves away. But there you go. That is it. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it the thumbs up. And, of course, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Our next goal is now 35,000 subscribers. So thank you, everybody, for recently subscribing to the channel. It means so much. And thank you again to our sponsors, Mamaroo Records, based in Whitley Bay, for all your music vinyl, your CDs, your music merchandise, sporting merchandise, gift cards, all sorts. If you can't get to the shop itself in Whitley Bay, they do have a website which is pinned at the top of the description. So give that a look, and please do give Steve a visit and mention that you're a TTR customer, and I'm sure he will do you a very, very good deal. But that is it for now for the Christmas Eve news. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful Christmas, guys, and we will be back on Boxing Day for Match Day Live as Newcastle United take on Aston Villa at 3 o'clock. Match Day Live will begin at 2:30 with half an hour build-up with all the team news, etc., and full commentary of the game. But until then, have a wonderful Christmas, folks, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.